What's up, sports fans? I wait, hold on. I think hypothetically you can see me on the. I think you can see me on the Zoom one. I think you see me on this screen. I don't know exactly which one I'm on right now, but welcome to another episode of Prep Insider. Christian Pedersen and Tommy Morris are here. Jonathan Rifkind is in studio with us on the Zoom. As of right now, we have Bodie De Silva from Scorebook Live, Colton Toll, our intern, who looks like he's wearing a pair of Xbox headphones.
Yeah, gotta keep it classy.
Gotta keep it classy. Raymond Brown is logging into the Zoom as well. What's up, Raymond Brown from San Diego Football Network? Guys, have you seen how much swag Raymond has? He has his own mic flag, his own everything. He's the most branded dude. Ramon Scott might join us also. A lot to get to, a lot to get through. Not everybody has everything fully prepared because this isn't that great of a show in terms of making sure everything's ready in advance. But Bodie, Tommy, I'd like to hear at least from you guys for your updated top 10 list. So while Kingsley slowly mauls Tommy to death, Bodie, would you mind getting started with the...
I can take her. She's not...
The Scorebook Live top 10. Once again, Scorebook Live is the official digital content provider of the San Diego CIF. Okay, technically the whole state, as it says on the audio read that I'm supposed to do, but we endorse Bodie. He is our guy. He is willing to drive all the way to Corona Centennial to watch Cathedral play and provide coverage there this week, and we appreciate that.
Kingsley's mad she didn't get to do her top 10.
Yeah, Kingsley gets to do her top 10 barks at Jonathan Rifkind. So let's get it started. We also welcome Ramon Scott into the Zoom. Bodie, your top 10, please, for week 2 of the San Diego high school football season.
Yeah, not a ton of movement this week for me. Cathedral Catholic stays at number 1, Carlsbad at number 2, Mission Hills at 3, Lincoln at 4. The first movement, El Camino, for me, moved from 7 to 5 after beating St. Augustine. La Jolla stays there at 6. They handled their business against Bishops. Torrey Pines, I moved them up a spot for how the final result looked against Cathedral Catholic. I don't want to say no one can play with Cathedral this year, but losing by 2 touchdowns, I was pretty impressed by that result. I
Take that hot take, Bodie. Take that hot take. Say no one can hang with them.
St. Augustine moves down to number 8. Still think they're a good team, just offensively weren't ready there in that first game. Modern Day Catholic in at number 9 and Eastlake at number 10.
I can dig it. I can respect it. That Eastlake score to me was a tad bit confusing. I was at that game, and I never know early on if it's defensive success or offensive struggles. So hoping for defensive success from them. Tommy, your top 10, please.
I'll go in reverse order. Starting with 10, I got St. Augustine. Number 9 is La Jolla. Number 8, Torrey Pines. They kind of slipped down the rankings there for me. 7 is Helix. We'll talk about them later when we get to the game picks. Number 6 is Mission Hills. 5, Modern Day. 4, El Camino. 3 is Lincoln. 2, Carlsbad. And number 1, I think they might run the table at 1, is Cathedral, especially given their schedule. It's kind of hard to move them down, even if they lose some of these games against some of these out-of-section teams.
Yeah, the out-of-section one's always hard to figure out until the season is over, because sometimes a team will come in here as the number whatever ranked in the nation from Arizona, and then they end up dropping a couple of tough league games in their own right, and they end up not being worth it, or it all ends up being a crazy season. But it sounds like Cathedral is going to have a tough time finding an excuse to lose with the amount of talent they have on their team. Game balls is not something that we had everybody singly prepared for, so I'm not going to ask for 4 full game balls from everybody, but if we could go around the room and at least shout out some of them. Raymond, do you mind if we start with you? Raymond Brown from San Diego Football Network, always a great person to have on with us. He did a top 21 and 21, and you had some performers of the week, so you want to at least give us a couple and tease us where everyone else can find the rest of them?
4, man, I'm already getting killed for the 10 I got.
Yeah, you need to do at least 150, otherwise everyone complains.
Well, then, yeah, get more people in here.
For each team.
I was very impressed with Sam Cooper. I mean, he can throw it, he can run. Jalen Daniels from Lincoln had a great performance. Caden Dawson on both sides of the ball. He had over 100 yards receiving, had a couple sacks. Jackson Stratton, very, very great performance against Bishops. And Savagon Yoakley from El Capitan, great breakout game against Canyon Hills. So
I love a good breakout game. I live for a good breakout game. Everyone else love a good breakout game? You know what I really love? Awkward silence. On the other end of
can I give myself credit for Savion Yoakley? Because I called that. I think you have to give credit to his parents technically, but sure, you can jump in at this point now that he's fully raised. That is a good point. But he did nothing. I just looked at film.
But you can after looking at 10 minutes of film, you can take credit for finding him and putting him on the map. Ramon, thank you so much for joining us. You got a couple of East County shout outs because I am all in on Granite Hills until they prove me wrong. So I want to hear at least from something that they did over their win last week, but let us know a couple of other players that you had your eyes on last Friday.
Yeah, well, Raymond said, of course, Savi Yoakley, I don't know if he had the county player of the week. I mean, a lot of great performances in week one, but he did account for 6 touchdowns, 3 passing, 2 rushing, and a 93-yard touchdown reception near the end of the game. So 6 touchdowns overall. Savvy, if you want to look for those sleepers, El Capitan's always willing to volunteer, but also Ryan Roddick was a big star out here against Sweetwater. Sweetwater came in with a pretty touted spring season, but Roddick looked really good. 3 touchdown receptions, replacing Nathan Acevedo, who transferred to Lincoln. Roddick was great. He also threw a touchdown pass, so he accounted for 4 scores. So since Raymond did give out Savi, I'm going to give out Ryan Roddick.
Bodie, my mic. Need to turn that up. Thank you very much. Bodie De Silva.
You hear me, Christian?
Oh, I can hear you. Oh, I hear you loud and clear. No one can hear me. I'm the worst. I am not qualified as an audio producer for hosting my own podcast.
Dom Tomasello, in at quarterback now. He got knocked from the game temporarily, had to leave, came right back in after a play, had a good performance. Everyone was worried about replacing McComb at quarterback. So Tomasello did do the job for Granite, and they got that season-opening victory.
Bodie De Silva from Scorebook Live. Plenty of articles that you can read on his recaps of all the action. But anybody that maybe not listed in there that was on the outside looking in that you would give an additional game ball out to for your performances last week?
Yeah, I think Jalen Shaw from Scripps Rancho was one that really stuck out. 3 rushing touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He took one of those back for another touchdown. And just the overall score, Scripps Ranch, 56 points in week 1, week 0, however you want to call it.
No, that was week 1. We've really officially decreed that was week 1.
Okay, that's good with me.
Yeah, no one's gonna be able to convince me otherwise.
Scripps Ranch, maybe they're the team that steps up and is one of the top contenders in Division II. In my opinion, La Jolla is the favorite there, but maybe this is a year where Scripps has some pieces to put together and challenge them, and that'll be a matchup this week. So,
I would like to throw out a game ball to Jonah Reyes, the kicker at Mission Hills, for hitting a 49-yard field goal. We posted on our Instagram that yesterday's stat of the day was that James Wagenseller from Poway has the longest currently made field goal. It's not. But I would like to get on my soapbox and say to all coaches out there,
put it on the internet.
This is what happens when you don't post your stats and you don't email us back and you never get a hold of people. It is not going to look good for your players. And I get this, and I will say this to everybody out loud and out publicly. It bugs me about Doug Peabody. It bugs me about the best of the best with the water polo and the lacrosse and the football and the everybody community that you try and hide your stats so that people. We know that you have excellent athletes. We didn't need to have Chris Olave's receiving yardage hidden from us. We knew that he was a very, 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 very good receiver. We didn't need to have Jack Tuttle's passing yards. Do you recognize a pattern maybe in the specific football team that is being brought up a lot? I apologize. I give out a game ball, but I also stand defiantly on my soapbox and say, this is the benefit of giving one of your parents access to log into your Scorebook Live or other competitor product, and just put in the stats. Even lie to us. Put in that he made a 109-yard field goal. It would technically be the longest. You don't know what his actual one was, but I will put it down there because it will be listed as the longest. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I apologize for the tone of my voice being angry. Any other game balls, or you want to move on to?
I'll go with one. I'll go with Jacob Sloan, wide receiver from Mission Bay. Caught 6 passes, 4 of them turned into touchdowns. It's a pretty good percentage right there.
Caught 6.
Scored 4.
Scored 4.
Not bad.
Yeah. I would also just like to say that I gave out a couple of my game balls already on the recap show that Noah Lax is doing. How cool is it that Noah's back? I mean, he's not like in with us right now, but he's at least, we have confirmed that Noah Lax is alive. It is so good. I just want to give one other shout out to all the defenses that pitched shutouts and got that done, because technically you can still say they haven't allowed any points this season, and that is always fun for however long. So
what about teams that didn't play? They haven't either. So
well, okay. So I wanted to open up to a quick discussion of teams that didn't play to the room, and then we will get to some game previews before we get out of here. But Chula Vista has had to cancel their game this week, and I think it's time to legitimately ask, guys, do you think that even 50% of the teams in San Diego are going to get 10 games in?
Somebody else go first.
All right.
It's not looking good so far.
Yeah, I mean, if we've had these cancellations early, but I think the South Bay, I mean, demographically, realistically, might be apt for more cancellations than the rest of the county. It seems like the South Bay struggles a little bit more with the virus, with the pandemic, and maybe that's what we're already seeing. But I think as we get a grip on the effectiveness of vaccines and the recent approval of the vaccine, and the percentage will grow now maybe to over 90%, right? San Diego's in a great position. 85% have started the process of getting vaccinated. That's incredible, right? So I think we're doing really good down here. And I would think, yes, I think a complete schedule. I'm gonna go with yes. I'm gonna be optimistic, even though I think if you've seen some of my shows, they've been a little bit negative in a way, but I'm gonna be optimistic on this one. I think once we start to open our eyes and see that everyone's gonna be okay for the most part, let's pray for our people who are at risk, but I think we're going to be doing good.
All right, Tommy, someone else is gone.
Well, yeah, I think the problem is you have different districts with varying rules, and that's going to make things really complicated. So if you are in a district that makes you test twice a week, per se, what if you're playing someone who doesn't have that rule? Do they now have to adhere to your rules, or is it the other way around? Is it whatever the home team is? Does the away team now have to wear it? Like, I think that the areas where everything's a little more lenient will have a better chance of playing all their games, just because, quite frankly, they won't have as many opportunities to have someone test positive or have something like that happen.
I'm worried about us getting all 10 games. I don't think it'll happen. I don't think a majority of teams will get all 10 games in. I think
it depends on the rules of the district.
I don't think that a majority of teams will play like 6 games. I don't think we're in that level of territory, but I do worry that there will be a couple of teams who get shorted on some early non-season games and then in the season with 8 and have a great case for making the playoffs, but according to written rule from CIF, cannot qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a bummer. And shout out to, I know Country Day did it really quickly. I don't think they're the
How
only
many
ones.
times are they going to be able to
That's
pull
what I'm
that
saying.
out there?
Like that, hats off to them for figuring that out. I think they figured out on Thursday who they're going to play. They ended up playing Saturday, I think. But that was a heck of a late schedule. So we'll see. I think as what will help this whole process is actually social media and Twitter, because it's making it easier for teams to find other teams that also had cancellations, and they're trying to fill now. Another smart move, I see Torrey Pines trying to fill their bye week now because they want to count this as their bye week. So there are ways to mitigate the problem, but I kind of agree with you. I think the majority of teams are going to at least miss one game. So that's what it is.
Bodie?
Yeah, no, I agree with Tommy there. It's really, to me, district by district, and it's a case like Eastlake, who plays Poway on Friday. They've still got another test this week, so are they going to make it through that way? Just when you're testing twice a week, there's such an extra added unknown there of, are we going to make it through just twice just to be able to play our game? And then it puts Poway in a bad situation if something were to arise. So that could hurt those teams where someone like Poway's done nothing wrong, but they lose a game that way.
And that's where I'm worried, because to me, yes, it might only be the South Bay school districts that are requiring these larger efforts, but none of those leagues are that big. None of these guys had like 7 league games. All these teams have 5 non-league games. Like, this could very easily be something where if Chula and Montgomery each miss 5 weeks, Like, there's going to be a lot of teams that can't all of a sudden fill that gap. Like, it's going to be very, very. I'm worried. I think there's going to be a lot of bubble teams that we don't think about it affecting them until we get to the end of the schedule and we realize, whoops. Jonathan?
Is there a precedent set for teams communicating their situation with potential opponents?
No,
dude. All of this is the Wild West.
Right. So the problem that I foresee, and I think this happened in the Southern section this past week with like 5 or 6 teams at last moment, and there's a matriculation effect here, is that teams can be altruistic about their situation. Okay, we know that there's a potential situation at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week prior to a game. We are not going to tell our opponents for the week. We are going to wait and see if we can get our stuff together and get to Wednesday or Tuesday where a definitive answer has been made. The problem is that if you wait until that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then decide that but you have to back out of your game, that opponent that you had on the schedule is now, as Bodie just alluded to, at a major disadvantage in scheduling. So should teams be obligated as soon as they find out that there's a potential situation a week before? Heck, you need to make sure that your opponent is aware so that way they could do their due diligence in filling that slot.
It's the trolley problem.
Right.
Which of the two disasters do you pick? But we can call it the Joel Allen hypothesis.
Well, I think
which of the two results do you go for?
I mean, in a perfect world, what you do is you tell the team as soon as you know, hey, look for somebody, but we're not backing out yet. And then you might have 2 teams in that situation. But then you're right. It creates a logistical nightmare.
A little group meet. We'll rotate quarters.
Yeah, because it is kind of a jerk move to catch someone off guard on a Thursday and be like, oh, we're not playing tomorrow. But you want to play your games too. So
and that's where just in the 5 minutes of trying to rationalize this, I can't hear a rational argument from any one of you why this won't end up just being a cluster F that destroys people's seasons. I just don't. And then I don't know how you tell a team that goes 9-1 that they have to be seated below a team that went 7-0.
Is there a bigger asterisk then next to this season if that's how it goes than last season?
I mean, last season doesn't even get put in the record books.
So how do we evaluate this season if that's how it goes?
The math, I think you still go back to the normal 50-30-20, even if it's a somewhat abridged season, because at some point you just got to make the executive decision of like we got to stop freaking out and overreacting.
The only thing I see that I think will ultimately arise there is at the end of the season when it's time for playoffs, I think that there will have to be a human element brought in.
That's what I'm saying. How do you tell a team that goes 9-1?
How do you equate a 6-game team with a 10 game team? It's going to happen. I really think.
And then I think minutes, when you actually read the football minutes that came out, since they've now have made the switch right to the old new system, it does say that the selection committee uses the ratings input as well as the football advisory committee and CIF. So I think it's all negligible as far as the contribution and what we might see with maybe look, in the COVID era, right? We're kind of all about breaking the rules. Okay, we're runners at second, all this going on. I would think that no good team's going to be left out, right?
I feel like Ramona doesn't like the runners at second.
I mean, let's
take away from that.
Ramon, permission to put it on the poll because you have to be tagged in this, but we'd like to put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider. Was the runner on second thing one of the worst things to come from the pandemic? We'd like to put that out there.
Came out and said they want to do it again. Who was that?
I do it again.
What, the pandemic?
No, runner on second, not the pandemic. Why would I ever do the pandemic again?
I don't know, man. You have some radical thoughts on life sometimes. Hey, I'll say this. Look, you came out of the pandemic a homeowner in a healthy and happy relationship, and you look like you're a quarterback whisperer, too.
Can I meet you halfway at first base? We'll put a runner on first base.
But it gets to be any runner you want. It gets to be any...
After 3 extra innings.
I kind of like that. After college football overtime, you know what I mean? They have to go for 2 eventually.
Overtime, yeah.
How about this? Instead of that, you get to lead off the 10th with whoever you want in your lineup.
Or position players have to pitch.
Or pitchers have to hit.
No, we
Nice, I like that.
we have learned that A, we have no respect for the high school boundaries of this show, but B, I think we've learned that every actual fielder in the major leagues has a chooch. Like this year, there's been enough of the position players going up there and throwing like high 80s, low 90s, where you're like, oh,
Jake Cronenworth can do it.
yeah, every one of
The
these
guy
dudes
throws like an 80-mile-an-hour ephus.
Yeah, every one of these dudes actually. I mean, they might not know the finer arts of pitching, but every one of these dudes has an absolute cannon. On to game balls, because I feel like we kind of reached the end of that.
I sputtered us out of control there.
No, it was good. This feels good. This was the first time we've been massively off topic in a couple of months. Oh, no, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. For game previews this week, we are going to go around the room, and we are going to get everybody's takes on a couple of different games. Jonathan Rifkin is also here to broadcast one of the games, so we won't ask him for previews from that. But first one, guys, Helix Otay. Helix with a win that I circled as still doesn't answer any questions for me. A 28-20 win over Mira Mesa. I have no idea if that means if Mira Mesa and Chris Thompson are up and back where he wants them, or if Helix still hasn't figured out I have no idea. We will get to that one. I said about halfway through the season on really knowing what happened to that game. But let's go around the room. We'll start in studio. So, Tommy, you want to jump in here first? To everybody who is new to the selection process, you do not have to give the score. Sometimes Tommy and Bodie randomly jump in with like, I want this one 15-13. I'm like, why? Why get that specific? This is going to set us up for failure. But if you want to give score, if just winners, losers, it doesn't matter. This is all for fun. We are just here to have fun. However, you will be added to our weekly scoreboard. So if you get dragged and go 0 for 4 on your selections, there will be public shaming. Tommy, you're up.
I'm all for the public shaming. So last week, Christian Washington had a huge week for Helix, 236 total yards and 3 touchdowns. For Otay, Jake Baca had 94 receiving yards and touchdown. I want to shout out a defensive player because I never do. Jeff Osborne, 11 solo tackles, for Otay. Heck of a game. He's going to have to do it again this week if he wants to give his team a shot against Helix. Christian Washington, I think, will be too much. We still have not seen the passing game yet from Helix. I don't know if that was by design, if they were maybe waiting to
That's what I'm saying. It's a win that doesn't give me any answers.
Anytime you're that dominant on the ground, it's hard for me to pick against you at any point in time, because that's something that you can take with you pretty much any game. So I like Helix in this one, but close. I like it at about a 7-point margin. I think it's going to be 21-14 Helix.
Jonathan Rifkin, you went in on this madness?
Do you want me to preview the game?
All right, he doesn't want the smoke then. Colton Toll, you've sat out far too long this week. You have not spoken a literal word into your, what I'm assuming is a bougie nice headset. So give us something.
I'll take Otay with the upset, if you could call it an upset.
If you could call it an upset level confidence in Otay, okay.
That's actually not that crazy, because Helix is in a lot of people's other, receiving votes type category, and so is Otay. So it's not that crazy to say they're about at the same level right now.
I'll put it on the poll at SD Prep Insider. Is Otay Ranch always good for one massive upset every year?
Yes.
Because they kind of feel like that lately.
Otay's a good program, man. They put out games. They're nice.
They are a team that on an individual sample size, you get Sammy Perenata dragging 5 Eastlake dudes. And you're like, oh, okay, fair enough. That exists. Or you get Devin Lloyd and you're like, disproportionately good linebacker from everybody else. But, no championship runs to show for it of late. But they're always good for one. Or at least we'll see what the poll says. Which, side note on the poll, overwhelming majority of people want us to make burner accounts and argue with parents.
No.
So I say that we have to do that because that's what the fans want.
No, we're not doing that.
Also, the amount of people that said no amount of texts can go unresponded without them, they will keep going for it. Good for all of you.
Shooters shoot.
Shooters shoot your
way to
shoot
get
their way
blocked
into
on
a
my
training
phone.
ready. Yeah.
If you want to get blocked, go ahead and triple text me in 50 minutes.
Bodie De Silva.
Yeah, I'm going to go Helix here. I much like you in week 1, I'm not sure what it really told me, but and I think a lot of Otay this year too. I think early on Helix will be further ahead, defensive battle, lower scoring, but I like Helix.
Ramon.
I don't know how it could be considered necessarily an upset, right? If you look at the extremely accurate computer rankings that we're no longer interested in, Otay Ranch is ahead of Helix going into this game, and they're also at home, right? So I got to think that Otay Ranch is, at least a 3-6 point favorite. I mean, I'm never going to say that Helix is I'm a Highlander. I mean, so I have utmost scrutiny of this team. 2 Mira Mesa touchdowns last week did come on kickoff returns, so they're going to have to shore up that. Mira Mesa really didn't do that much against them. Washington, the 200 yards, he makes the big play when they need him to. As far as Helix passing, maybe I'm misunderstood. I guess Ortiz is out for the a waiting period, right? And that's why we didn't see him. And we saw Rylan Jesse. Maybe you guys can set me straight on that. I don't think they're ready to turn Jesse loose at all. Helix has an excellent secondary, speedy secondary, and all Otay did was pass. So I think that's where Helix's edge might come in. And only because I'm here representing the East County and I'm a Highlander, am I going to take Helix by 1 point. And by the way, you mentioned the picking the scores, and I know some famous accounts out there had some accurate scores last week. I missed the Helix game by 1 point. I said it was 27-20, and the final was 28-20. But I've got Helix by a point.
Just so you know, you don't have to beat around the bush with any accounts that you even want to name here. This is a relatively free platform, and we all
there are famous San Diego accounts.
Well, it's more like there's just no we all get who we're all talking about. Raymond Brown, give us one last pick on this game, then we'll move on to our next one.
Yeah, I got Otay rated higher. They're in my top 10, but I got Helix taking this one. I feel like they got a lot to prove. Everybody's saying that they fell off.
We call that an El Camino. When you no longer want to pick the higher rated team in the top 10 and you just want to go with a random out of left field.
Yeah, last year the team that upset Mater Dei, they did it. They controlled the clock with their run game. They don't have that running back no more. They're dependent on their pass. They got a great quarterback in Brian Rudden. So I think Helix takes this one. It's going to be a great game, though. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. It's going to be pretty close. Both teams are going to put up a great fight. Should be a good one. And I got Helix winning by a close one.
Yeah, I will take because if I pick against Helix, they'll go to the championship, and I will have to hear from Robbie Owens about it. If I don't pick against Helix, I'll be the one that didn't get in early on the Otay bandwagon.
Helix needs this when their schedule's brutal, Christian.
Don't put me on the knee.
Oh, no,
you're
right.
going to guilt trip me now?
No,
all right,
fine.
I will be guilt tripped into going Helix will win this one. Next game.
Ramon, yeah, they've got 2 out of
I'm all
section
alone
games,
on
right?
Otay?
Yeah, good luck. Well, that means it'll probably happen, by the way.
Let's go.
He said that with such depression.
They might be 2-4 going into the non-league season. They might.
I love a good discussion about who's the best 2-4 team. That's my sweet spot later in the year. Looking forward to getting to that one. The next one, we've got Scripps Ranch and La Jolla in a rematch of what I consider my finest experience as a professional broadcaster when we whooped that ass in the finals a couple years ago.
Not biased at all.
No, none whatsoever.
Not biased at all.
Hey, look, at least it's actually for the school that I went to, unlike other accounts in San Diego. I will say that I offer no objectionable reason to be biased or to be unbiased about this one. Go La Jolla. Jonathan, plug the ability to watch the game, please.
You can check this game out live streamed on the Prep Insider TV network that we had recently launched, prepinsidertv.com.
It's free.
It's free. Yeah, you can watch a premiere, fully produced football game, and you don't have to pay $10 a month.
You can watch multiple football games, and it's free.
Fallbrook will be going
with an ad too that comes on before, but.
That's what we like to hear. Ramon, just so you know, I don't get a cent on that ad, so it's so free.
No, not Prep-Ins. I'm talking about that service.
Oh, you're talking about the 10. I got you. Well, they make plenty of sense on that ad.
Yeah. How much money do I have to spend on?
Well, Ramon, on the Prep Insider TV network, you don't have to spend a cent.
No.
We'll have a few other games going. University City will be streamed on Friday as well against. You guys are playing. It is escaping my mind. Del Norte. Fallbrook will be streaming while San Ysidro.
Fun fact: did you know that translates to the north?
The north.
Del Norte.
Yeah.
The north
of the north.
Yeah. Fun fact for the day.
Okay, anyways, so that's how you can watch the game. We'll be live 5 minutes prior for a quick pregame show. Special thanks to all of our production associates for making sure we can get it going. I have to be unbiased. I am unbiased.
All right, fine. We'll move on. Tommy.
I can preview the game.
Tommy's got game notes, and we'll keep moving. You feel free to jump in, though, whenever you want.
Oh, I will.
So for Scripps, they're led by Jax Leatherwood, which is a perfect name for him because he is huge. And if you hear a guy named Jax Leatherwood, he just seems like a massive human being, and he is. He's probably a good basketball player for them too. I think
Three-sport athlete.
It's something where
I don't think he's ever.
He's an outside hitter in volleyball, so he can spike it. He also plays basketball.
He
He's
has
a power
to.
forward, and he's a 6'6", 215-pound quarterback.
Yeah, and he looks every bit of 6'6". Trust me. They had 4 players last week with 60+ receiving yards, so that's what's so tough about them is spread the ball around. La Jolla can do that too. Obviously, we all know about Jackson, but the couple receivers I want to mention, Austin Bale and Mason Powers both had 90+ receiving yards last week. 2 very good players. They are stacked at the skill position level. They have a million receivers they can use, a million running backs. They are really tough to beat this year. This is probably the best team La Jolla has had, maybe ever in program history. I'm not scared to say that, maybe ever. And if they had Max Smith too, it would be a slam dunk for that. So I'm going to go with La Jolla here.
I mean, it's pretty dang good team. Yeah, I'll go with best ever in school history. Probably. We got screwed over for a long time being in Western League Division II with Cathedral. And
That's tough. That's what I'm saying. This is a team that is in the top 10, which I can't remember for a while.
You said every bit of 6'6", right?
Every bit of 6, unless he's listed at 6'7", then he's every bit of that.
I think he's 6'6".
Okay. He'd be listed at 6'8", I'd tell you the same thing.
No, I'm just putting it on the poll.
Okay.
And who's next? Bodie?
Yeah, I mean, the way, certainly of what I think of La Jolla this year, I have to go with them here. I talked about Scripps, really impressive in week 1, and I think it'll be a closer game than I would have thought a week ago. But at this point, I really like La Jolla, and I think they're going to be able to score really on anyone in the county. They may have some defensive troubles, but they got their week 1 last week to work on that. Offensively, they're excellent.
Who did they beat? Formerly great football dynasty Bishops. I believe that officially means that we run La Jolla.
There's another team in La Jolla.
I was going to say they need to match up.
Oh, Tommy, that'd be delightful because, yeah, that'd be delightful. Colton, did we get you yet?
No, I'll go. Scripps had a good win last week, but this La Jolla team has been on the rise for a while. So, I mean, this La Jolla team is
great. You can remain our intern for another week.
It was funny, Christian, you said that championship game was like one of your biggest moments.
Yes.
That was the year that was my senior year when we were the 2 seed and lost in the second round. That should have been in the championship game.
That was at Central that you guys lost?
No, we lost at home against Brawley.
Oh, Brawley. Okay. But did you
and
lost
we would have played La Jolla next week if we had won that.
Dude, that team makes me think back to. I still can't believe that Wesleyan, that school district let him go from that school.
Oh, I know. Then
you guys were literally a game away from the finals. And,
oh, I know.
Oh, he knows.
Oh, we know that it hurt.
It hurt. You guys
Wesleyan's gonna do really good at Mount Carmel.
Yeah, you didn't have a field. You still made it to the semifinals. You had a field finally. You made it to yeah, it's absolutely outrageous. But I digress. 2 guys left. Raymond, you want to go? You want to tread lightly though, and make sure you don't say Scripps.
Say Scripps.
I'm going with La Jolla. Definitely going with La Jolla. Scripps got some athletes though. Jalen Shaw had a great game. Jackson Leatherwood, big, tall guy.
I don't think anyone calls him Jackson. Just call him Jax.
I never saw Jackson listed anywhere on their roster.
I think it's a safe assumption. I think it's a safe assumption. That's probably.
I mean, he was probably born Jax. Like he was probably like 6'5".
We'll have to have
6'5".
We've already got one Jax Leatherwood poll on the show today, so we'll save maybe one for another week. But yeah, let's just say for the rest of the football season, we will slowly grow our enamored relationship with Jax Leatherwood being the big.
I think it's more dramatic.
The country urban quarterback
and I'm not a tall guy, so this is not a knock on Luke Durkin at all. But it's more dramatic because Luke was not the tallest guy, and Jax is the tallest guy literally ever. So the discrepancy is crazy. But sorry, Raymond, continue.
Well, no, it's not. They are not trying to retool the same team. They're going a very different vibe in charge. Raymond, you keep going, or was that all of your?
Yeah, I picked La Jolla.
Deal. Ramon, close us out.
I like the way Scripps Ranch is doing this year, but La Jolla is going to.
Hey, I want to be back on the show, so I'm going with La Jolla. But really, I had him ranked 7th in my vote this week. Maybe 35-21. I'm looking here. I think Scripps, I'm really fond of that program, but not here, not now, not against these Vikings. And Stratton, look, everyone loves a quarterback, right? When we get down to the player of the year race, yes, there's a lot of talented athletes, a lot of great runners, but when you start racking up some big numbers like, 365 and 4 touchdowns, and you're a quarterback, you start doing that week after week. might be hard to keep him away from that top award when it's all said and done, despite all the talent we have this year.
I think it'll be a 7-point game. I think it's gonna be very.
Can
close.
I make a case
Oh,
for
there's
Scripps?
no,
Yeah,
dude, Scripps
go for
has
it.
such a chip on their
Can-
shoulder and is
can
so
I-
ready to over deliver in this game. Scripps is very poised to be a huge trap game.
Scripps needs a better case than Jax Leatherwood. Can I make it real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, you can see how long it goes until I turn your mic off.
All right, let's see what happens. I'm only take that risk. Tommy, as a quarterback whisperer, how do you get a quarterback uncomfortable consistently?
Blitz.
Yep. Okay, so there's a guy named Dylan Stoney. Great middle
Stoney.
linebacker. There you go, for Scripps Ranch. He had 13 tackles last week, including 3 sacks and 3 other tackles for loss. This guy is a really, really good player. Now, is the La Jolla offensive line maybe a little bit better, if not a lot of bit better than the San Pasqual offensive line? Probably. But that doesn't mean that this guy doesn't have the tangibles to be able to beat him 1, 2, 3 times over the course of a quarter and get that pocket, collapse the pocket, try to get Jackson Stratton uncomfortable. So if you can disrupt the offense a little bit, and I think Scripps can, at least that they'll have a chance to compete. It really comes down to, do they have the playmakers offensively to put up points? Because I do think that defensively they can make things tough for La Jolla, and Dylan Stoney really is the key. Yes, Jackson Leatherwood, if he can play the game that he knows how to play.
No, not you two
Wait, hold
joining
on,
the
hold on, wait.
Jackson
Oh,
Leatherwood.
my God, I had the Freudian slip.
I know.
No.
So wait, hold on. Wait.
Oh, I had the Freudian slip.
I was gonna ask this when you were done with your rant, but I'm gonna. Can we do like a in-house betting thing? Over under.
No, we cannot bet on high school
Over
sports.
under 2 times. But no, Jonathan, this is not a knock on you because I would screw this up probably at least 5 times during this game.
I'm not allowed to participate.
Over.
I'm
Okay.
not
No.
operating.
Wait. Let me hear. Just let me finish what I'm about to say. Over under 2 times, Jonathan accidentally calls one of the quarterbacks the other one's name, given they both have basically the same first name.
Jackson Stratton. Oh, man.
Oh.
I'm taking
That's-
the over on myself.
I think I would take the over on me.
I'd hammer the
That's-
over.
I'd
bet my life savings on the over.
on Sunday.
You know what? No, I have faith in you. I think 2 or less times.
Thanks,
2 or
man.
less times. 2 or
On
less
Sunday,
times.
I was calling the USD soccer game against Army, and I called them the Golden Knights like 4 times instead of Black Knights.
Can I
And
get
they're
you-
in gold. That's tough.
Yeah.
Can we come up with a phrase for him to sneak into the broadcast?
We should do that every week too.
Something funny?
We'll think, put it on
It should be
Twitter somewhere.
organic, though, no?
No.
Put it on
There
Twitter
needs- like,
somewhere.
no, like Tommy,
That's
what's
like a safe word.
Tommy, what's a recent movie you've watched? Or a series or something like
I've been
that.
watching Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
what's a Ted Lasso reference we can put in?
Some
We can have.
British thing.
Oh,
Some-
I'm sure that there's something.
That's a
Or
good
one of his
document.
Midwestern things when somebody scores, how he's always positive.
He's got a lot of like little sayings.
Yeah.
we'll find
I'll
one.
take one out. Okay.
I'm gonna Google that.
No, Google. We need to come up.
We'll
it
do
needs
it.
to be
We'll have
on
it
air
by the
right
end of the
now.
show. I promise.
It
I'll
needs to
have
be
by the
on
end of the
air.
show. I'll
Yes,
have by the end of
deal.
the show. Yeah, I
Perfect.
promise.
Oh, man.
On to our next game, and I appreciate everyone sticking around. This has been a longer show than normal, but hey, we have more guests, and everyone's having fun. We have Rancho Bernardo Ramona. RB with kind of a big win in week 1. Ramona with a kind of one like Helix that I go, is Point Loma the real deal again, or does Ramona kind of struggle? Like, what's going on there? So while Tommy is normally our starting point, we will move into the Zoom realm and go with Colton for our quickest prediction. Because it's probably just going to be one word.
RB had a really good win over San Marcos. I think they're going to just keep the hot streak going. They're going to beat Ramona.
Is RB back on like a are they a thing again? Is Rancho Bernardo football a thing again? We will have to find out. Ramon, you are next, please.
I got Ramona winning this one probably by about a touchdown. Holding Point Loma to just 14 points. It's a pretty good
a lot of good
accomplishment
ones.
out of the gate for the Bulldogs. They had a wild finish in that one, right? Some turnovers, a goal line stand. Finally won the game with Cash Jones, 150 yards rushing for Jones in the go-ahead touchdown against the Pointers. As far as Rancho Bernardo, they got Frankie Pashina, 178 yards rushing in that one. They also had Spencer Lane rush for a couple touchdowns over San Marcos. Give me the Bulldogs by a touchdown.
Tommy, let's do this. Find the top 2. We'll put them on the poll as which one should Jonathan Rifkin put into Friday night's broadcast.
There's a couple that have football on there, but I think
Just
that's
text me the
almost
top
too
2 that you want, and I'll put them in as poll questions.
I'll tag Ted Lasso and I'll get free swag.
easy.
Deal.
Go Greyhounds.
Bodie, please regale us with some stats, some facts, and some cold hard nature.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Rancho Bernardo here. They were really impressive in week 1. I didn't think San Marcos was going to have a huge year, but to go and do that in week 1 and the schedule's still going to be difficult. You got Ramona, you got Torrey Pines, you have Mission Hills later in the year.
They have Ramona on the schedule? No way.
I expect this to be a Rancho Bernardo win and them to keep carrying into league play where I'm not sure they're the favorite, but I think they're one of the top 2 in that.
Raymond.
This is going to be an exciting ground game battle between two great running backs, Cash Jones and Ramona, and Francesca, who just hit me up about not being on my Player of the Week list. Shout out to Francesca. He had a game. I'm gonna go with Rancho Bernardo. Great win over San Marcos, and I think the momentum's going to continue on.
Are the posts still worth it, given the fact that you now have entered the gutter of people hating on you for leaving them out intentionally, always, because it's somehow always intentional that you left them out? Tommy, are you
part of the gig now?
Yeah, it's just part of the gig.
It's become part of the gig.
I want Ramona because I want to pick the upset and I want to try and gain some ground after taking an L on the El Camino Saints game last week. So give me Ramona. Tommy.
I'll take Ramona also.
Yes.
So last week, Rancho Bernardo only threw the ball 4 times. This is the kind of game that Ramona likes. So I am not scared here to pick Ramona. I think this is going to be a very low-scoring game because both the teams like to run. The clock's going to expire very fast. It's going to be one of those ones you get to halftime, like, this game's only been going on for like 45 minutes. So I like, or less than that. Sorry, that's kind of normal. Anyway, so I like Ramona in this one. I think it'll be close because, again, like I said, I don't think there's going to be a lot of possessions either way. I think it's going to be a lot of running the ball, a lot of burning clock. I like them by 1 possession. I think it's going to be like 10-7. Just, again, very low-scoring game.
Our last game, El Camino Grossmont. Grossmont last week, their head coach gets his first win versus what I think ultimately is going to be a pretty good Sweetwater team. Not a world leader, but like that's a solid win. El Camino proved all of us wrong. Go figure. What the hell, man? Every single year, one team always just has to be a thorn in our side in terms of handing us all a fat L throughout the years we pick. And then that is just, it's going to be El Camino this year. Shout out to their student section for trolling us on Instagram. We appreciate the engagement. We love you guys. Bodie, you were at El Camino last week, so let's start with you.
Yeah, I'm going to go with El Camino here. The defense looked really strong, and I expect them to be all year long. I think the offense will come around. We're going up against a St. Augustine defense that is really good. 2 Division I players were making plays all throughout the game. So I think El Camino is going to come around, and I expect them to get a big road win here.
Ramon?
Yeah, I'm going to challenge my Foothillers to try to keep this one within a couple of touchdowns this week. El Camino, one of their top backs, did go out with that terrible ankle injury at the beginning of the game. They have a guy who stepped up, and they got it done in El Camino fashion. I think that their defense is pretty good. Gosh, I got the Wildcats winning this one, like I said, by maybe 2 touchdowns. Go Hillers!
Raymond.
Yeah, I love what Grossmont's doing this year, but got to go with El Camino. They played a heck of a game against St. Augustine. And shout out to Kai Reed, man. I think he struggled early in the game. He threw a pick 6, had another interception, but he came back and went off and led his team to a great victory. So I'm going to go with El Camino.
Colton.
Big win last week. Big offensive line. We'll go El Camino as well.
Jonathan Rifkin.
Undeterred about our final result.
There we go.
Tommy Morris.
So here's what concerns me about El Camino a little bit. They had 4 turnovers last week against Saints, and the game was still close. So to me, if you force 4 turnovers, you should be winning by a lot, and that didn't seem to happen. We mentioned Rodek with 2 receiving touchdowns and a passing touchdown. Incredible performance out of him. Grossmont, they were playing competition not up to their standard at this point in time. So really hard to judge on them. I think if El Camino wakes up a little bit, this should be a cakewalk, but I'm going to go with the upset. If you want to call it an upset, I'm going to go with Grossmont. I think, again, in a low-scoring game.
Deal. We appreciate everyone hanging out. You can find more at SD Prep Insider. You can go to Prep Insider SD TV to watch Jonathan's games. Too many of you to be listed. You know what? All right, fine. Real Tommy Morris on Twitter.
Just stick with Twitter. We changed the Instagram name for a reason.
Oh, we're going away from
we're going
the
incognito on
lifestyle.
Instagram. Yeah,
Deal. I will.
It's incognito on Instagram.
Okay, fair enough.
You can't find me even if you wanted to.
This new woman has changed.
Idiots.
It's the weekends in Hollywood.
Yeah, all the weekends in Hollywood have changed.
Jonathan Rifkin is at Jonathan Rifkin on Twitter and Instagram. Or do you want me to not tag you also on Instagram stuff?
You can tag me on Instagram. My Instagram's boring, but sure.
All right, fine. Colton Toll is at Pro Colton Toll if he still remembers that login for his Twitter.
We got it.
Colton, do you want to plug your Instagram? Or are you trying to live the lifestyle of the rich and famous?
No, we're going to leave that private.
All right. The other 2 guys on this, or the other 3 guys on this conversation have professional Instagram accounts to plug. Bodie De Silva at SB Live CA on Twitter, on Instagram. You can find the Scorebook Live app wherever you download your apps. It's absolutely worth using. Don't know if you
Was
caught
that a pun of Ab?
Yeah, it was. You can also follow Bodie at SD Preps on Twitter, on Instagram, and on the freeway because that is his license plate. Ramon is EC. You got to remind me, Ramon. What are all of your appropriate ones to plug?
Ramon Scott Media on Twitter. On Instagram, follow us. East County Sports. No one wants to dig into my real personal life of.
Fair enough.
Nothing
And then
more I wanna
Raymond
do.
is San
Yeah,
Diego.
now that's all I want to do.
Here goes the rest of my day.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna be like, deep
Time
time.
to go to the county court.
Yeah,
Look up Ramona Scott.
Hey, you say Tommy doesn't want to, but when Tommy is a dog with a bone on a journalistic piece, like he's oddly had some times where he goes down rabbit holes and files FOIA requests and winds up with like legit journalism integrity. I'm Mr. Seatbed, but look, if you found this, you found SD Prep Insider, and that's my actual account that I log into. So I will talk to you guys all next week. Thank you everyone for joining us on the Zoom. Stay safe, folks.